Sorry, guys. I don't know why that wasn't picking up uh, my camera right away, but we got it fixed. And it still is a little bit wonky, but that's okay. I'll just bring you up here. That'll be better. So, with today's video, this is going to be directed at the lower enlisted, primarily to NCOs, but also to a lot of lower enlisted. So if you know someone who is enlisted, feel free to share this with them, because there's a lot of things that people just don't understand about the military. And when you're younger and less experienced, you don't have the knowledge that the more senior people do, and they use it to their advantage. And one thing I'm going to talk about is non-judicial punishment, NJP. And I'm going to talk about it because there's a lot of things that people just don't understand, and I don't want them to listen to a barracks lawyer. Uh, if you, as a military member, are told that you're going to be NJP'd, the first thing you should do is shut the hell up. And because too many guys talk and talk and talk, and they talk themselves right into trouble. Uh, some staff and officers, the reason why they're threatening you with that is because they want you to talk. So really, uh, and here's the thing: some people in the military are bullies, plain and simple. They, any type of place with authority, the military, law enforcement, government, you're going to attract bullies. That's just the way it is. There are people who want control over others. And with the military, the great thing about the military is every job is going to eventually lead to a leadership position. So you will have management experience. However, there's some bad things, because then bad leaders end up in management positions. So if someone's telling you that they're going to NJP you, a lot of times they're just trying to get you to talk. So say, well, I would like to, since you're going to NJP me, I would like to go to a lawyer and discuss my options. And then, uh, and if they refuse to send you to a lawyer, just say I would prefer to not, or just say I'd like to invoke my Fifth Amendment rights of self-incrimination. That way, by you saying that, and especially if you can document that, anything that you say will get tossed. Uh, Most likely, it would be very hard for them to say that those statements should be used when they prevented you from going to a lawyer. And there are people there that are not law enforcement, that are staff NCOs and officers, that will absolutely try to do things like that. I've seen it happen. Um, the biggest thing that you need to know about NJP is it's a way to avoid a court martial. A lot of times, I had staff and officers who would threaten NJP knowing full well they couldn't take it to a court martial. It is your right to choose to go to NJP or to refuse to go to NJP. And a lot of people don't know that. They think just because NJP is being offered that you can't deny it. I was threatened a couple times with, oh, well, we're going to NJP you. And I was like, okay, good. I'm going to deny that NJP and I'm going to take it to court martial because I know you can't prove what you're claiming, because it's complete and total bullshit. And that does happen. And it happened to me, even as an officer. It happened to me. It happened to me as enlisted, and it happened as an officer. Uh, I I was fortunate that I actually worked very early in my career right next to the staff judge advocate's office. I knew people in there. NJP is really, if If you did whatever the offense is and you're looking for a lighter punishment, that's really what it is. It's a way to not make this as big of an issue as what it could be, allow you to potentially salvage a career, but you do not have to accept non-judicial punishment. Again, it's non-judicial. You can say no. That if you really didn't do that, be like, okay, no, no, no. I'm gonna take court martial. You take me into a court of law where you have the burden of proof. Whereas in NJP, it's between you and the commanding officer. It allows the commanding officer to have more options available rather than sitting in court all the time. So that's the biggest thing I really want uh, lower enlisted to know. That if someone is talking about NJPing you, if you are legitimately innocent, absolutely refuse that. You don't have to take NJP, refuse it. But I'll always tell you, go to a lawyer. And here's the great thing about being in the military: you are uh, afforded free lawyers. Now, there's legal aid on base, but that's not who's your lawyer. That's just legal aid. There's a whole section on every base called defense. Those are the lawyers for any military member who is, they represent people who are not the command. Like the commander has his own attorneys, but all the other enlisted and junior officers, everybody who is not a commander, they can use the defense. Um, and it's always helpful just to go and talk with them. I've said several times, the military offered me a lot of opportunities where, if I was ever in the vicinity of a lawyer, several times I'd be like, hey, let's go grab lunch. Let me buy you lunch. And I would sit and just kind of ask them questions and be like, what do you think about this? What is this? Can you explain this to me? And, I got a lot of time there where I was able to just pick their brain, find out things. And it was incredibly positive. So, and it allowed me a certain amount of legal knowledge. I'm not saying I'm a legal expert, but when I hear several concepts or terms, I already know what those mean because I've already either seen it in cases that I've followed or I've talked to attorneys about them. Um, and the great thing about that is in the military, you don't have to pay those attorneys. Don't have to pay them at all. That's And if there's any attorneys watching this show, feel free to reach out to me. I love talking to attorneys. I think it's great. Um, I even had the time to really sit and talk with a judge one time. So it can be incredibly helpful and positive. So just know that. Um, but with a lot of lower enlisted, they don't understand that. They don't understand what rights they have afforded to them. And there's a lot of leaders out there who will absolutely take advantage of it. I think it's disgusting when they do. When I was at the command level, I used to call people out for doing that. Um, and there were times where I told people, "Hey, no, y- you should absolutely refuse NJP." I had a time where I had a staff sergeant who there was an issue going on, and he was consistently stating, "This is a problem. This is a problem. We have to fix this problem." So, and he kept reporting it to me. I kept reporting it to my leader, and like eventually, it was became a noticeable problem, and it was really disgusting because it was all due to one lieutenant colonel. He didn't want to admit that they had failed, is what it came down to, and it was like it's really not a big deal. Like even people much more senior than even him were saying, look, all we need is we just need you to acknowledge this happened, and he wouldn't do it. So this became a huge thing, and they were trying to blame my stash sergeant, and I'm like, that is not at all correct. Like he's the guy that's saving everyone from, really being in trouble. And if we don't acknowledge this, then we all will really be in trouble. And my XO at the time threatened my staff sergeant with NJP. And I was not allowed into that meeting, which was complete and total bullshit because I was his immediate supervisor. So when he came out, he looked like he had just been dragged through it. And I was like, come here and talk. I closed the door, and he was like, yeah, they told me that they're looking to NJP me. And I was like, no, 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 no. I go, that's not gonna happen. I go, they would be fools to do that. And he's like, why? And I go, I I am your get out of jail free card. I've been telling them in email, I've been telling them face to face that you have reported to me all this stuff. I go, them just trying to put this on you. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything. You just recognized the problem and you brought it to your leadership's attention. And I'm going to be you the one to testify to that. I go, so they always they have to court martial NJP, the highest person. And I'm telling you, I am admitting, yes, you told me this. And I will also say under oath, I told my boss. And if it didn't go further than there, that's the guy who's the problem. Uh, really, in our command, it was one of our MSEs, subordinate command, uh, who was all they had to do is just say, yeah, uh, this count was wrong. And then we would, okay, we'll fix it. That's all that needed to happen. But instead, we had leaders who were kind of just threatening people with NJP, really based upon nothing. And but because I was willing to I was like, look, if they tell you they're going to NJP, you tell them to f off, and you take this to court martial, and you keep saying, I was a lieutenant then. You keep saying that Lieutenant Arthur will absolutely have my back, and it never really got to that. It never got to NJP because it was complete and total BS. And you know, but there are these people in various commands. That's just one example, but in various commands, there are those people who they're very quick to want to NJP Marines, and that's just because they want to know. They want everyone to know that they're in charge. Um, you know, it is what it is. But young enlisted will sometimes just be like, okay, yeah, I'll go to NJP because they don't know their rights and they don't go to a lawyer and talk about their rights. So just know that if you're lower enlisted, you do not have to accept NJP. And if you're innocent, I would tell you absolutely not to. Make it go, like, literally. I can't tell you how many cases that I've seen Marines take an NJP for that I know they could not prove at court martial, and you're just admitting guilt at that point. Um, but yeah, don't let them do that to you, and go to defense. Figure out figure out from them what you should actually be doing. Take their advice, and yeah, you'll be fine then. Um, Sorry, this thing is messing up on me. So that's today's video. I appreciate all of you for being here. Please share this with someone who's lower enlisted. Make sure that they know about these things and these concepts. Don't don't let a bully have power over you. Because yeah, once you have a lawyer, that lawyer will be like, okay, yeah, no, you need to stop talking to my client about this. And they'll tell you, shut up, don't talk to anyone about this incident. I guarantee you that's what every lawyer is. I, every lawyer I've ever asked, what's the best legal advice you've ever given someone? Almost every single time it's shut up. every client, every client that I've ever helped, shut the hell up. Every client that I've ever been unable to help, never shut up. So there you go. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you, everyone. Please leave questions, comments, concerns in here. Like and share this. Again, send this to anyone enlisted. And as always, thank you for being worth serving.